Do you know how many traditional culture in Indonesia? Well, before we go further, this is an essential thing to declare that Indonesia is a single term which has many tribes, but those are nothing uniform with its culture. There are a great deal of ethnic groups in Indonesia with its own custom and culture. It means that there aren't any similarities between one culture to another. But when we know those sentences, keep in mind the word uniting in diversity. That is, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. In this occasion, I am Fadlil Zidan Arya Wardana from SMP Sains Tebuireng, going to deliver a speech on the role of the civil generation in maintaining the tradition of Indonesian nation. Ladies and gentlemen, in this modern era, we cannot deny the developing of science and technology. Our culture is sensitive to influences from another nation, which is not appropriate for our culture. The value of foreign culture can easily be accessed by children and teenagers through the internet. Most of the young generation prefer other culture rather than our own culture. They feel more modern and feel more famous if they imitate Western. Dear ladies and gentlemen, let us analyze ourselves whether we have already love our culture or not. As we know that there are many of children and teenagers who are already familiar with the best foreign singers and celebrities. This is the evidence of the existence of globalization and modern era that have spread rapidly to the entire nation. R&B, rock, K-pop are known better by youngsters rather than traditional dances that are supposed to be preserved. So, who is wrong? The most ironical thing from our nation's behavior towards our tradition is the tendency of putting them to the lowest concern. Well now, the question is, how can the youth maintaining and keeping the tradition of Indonesian nation? The answer is, it's in millennials' hands and their deep heart. Dear ladies and gentlemen, it is not late to preserve our culture. As Engineer Sukarno said, give me 10 youth, then I will shake the world. That statement, it can be concluded that the role of youth is so crucial in maintaining and keeping the tradition of Indonesia with their talents and creativity. There are 3 actions that we can do to maintain our tradition. They are knowing, having, and introducing. The first, knowing traditional culture. There is a proverb which is saying, not knowing, not loving. It means that we need to know something before we love it. This can also be applied to the tradition of the nation. The young generation needs to know the tradition of Indonesia, which are very various. By knowing them, it will be easier for them to be able to be interested about it and to learn about it. A sense of belonging and a sense of loving will grow naturally. For example, learning the arts of folk songs, traditional dance, traditional music, etc. Second, having a sense of pride. As the young generation, the Indonesian people must have a sense of pride for having a variety of culture. Therefore, it is on their hand that they must participate in preserving the tradition by using regional assets made by Indonesia. For example, batik. Using batik in various official events. Third, introducing culture to the world. Indonesia is famous and diverse of culture, which is spread from Sabang to Merauke. By introducing them to the world, it will encourage pride of our culture. By student exchange, we'll be able to introduce to the world, which also can be a way to carry the slogan, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, or uniting in diversity. The young generation is the hopes of the nation's future, future's leaders, candidates. Therefore, it is on their hands that of the fortune of a nation. Let's light the spirit of preserving Indonesia cultural heritage. Dear ladies and gentlemen, if puppets are one of our culture, why should we be ashamed to watch it? If batik is a part of our culture, why should we be ashamed to wear it? We should be proud of our own culture, proud of the diversity of Indonesia. If you are a young generation, give the best for our nation, our culture, our country. This is my culture, my Indonesia. That's all from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.